Hey, this is Okitahi. I play Dr. Pershing, and you are watching the Virtual Cantina Network.
Hey, Batchers.
Hello there. And Gesundheit, Jonathan.
I'm trying not to cough or too much into the mic, so keep hitting. If I go quiet, it's because I'm mute. We are Jedi Archives, and we are reviewing the Bad Batch After Show Season 3, Episodes 10 and 11. My name is Jonathan.
I'm Mike.
And I am Bryce. Want to thank Omega for stepping in with me the last couple of weeks. It's been, I think she did a great job.
And for me, the week before that. So good job, Omega.
She's gonna be a regular soon.
She's gonna be the host soon.
She's better than us.
She's definitely a host of something.
All right, let's get into this.
All right, so the first episode 10, is called Identity Crisis. And this one was focused not so much on the Bad Batch as oh, wait a minute. Yes, that's right. It was not so much focused on the Bad Batch as it was more on Emery.
And deep diving into Project Necromancer as well.
Right. But it wasn't really a to me, it felt like when we were having the Book of Boba Fett, and then all of a sudden it was a Mandalorian episode. You know, it was like a bait and switch, because this was not a Bad Batch episode with the Bad Batch that we usually see.
When I look at the big overall idea this week, I was like, these episodes don't have anything to do with each other. Why did they have a two-parter? Well, I think they had a two-parter because people were like, well, this was even Bad Batch. It was very
right.
It was a D Squad. It's just another main story.
Yeah. So it opens up with we're on this frozen planet, you know, and there's this toddler with his mom, and they're in the marketplace, and then while her back is turned, you know, he tosses this little toy, and then he wants it, and then he uses the Force to throw a vase.
Well, he threw it out of the way so he could get to his
toy.
Yeah.
And then the bystanders are like, "Oh, he's cursed." And it was like, "Oh, he's gifted." And then the Aqualish is like, he goes to his comm to report it, you know, and he asks for a class one bounty hunter, which we know now the class 1 bounty hunters have been enlisted by the Empire to find these targets with high M counts. And of course, we know that means Force sensitive.
Midi-chlorians.
We're not going to say that word. We'll just say M count.
I'm going to say midi-chlorians.
I prefer midi-chlorians.
Even Master Yoda never had a midi-chlorian count that high.
Yeah. And so then, you know, and then we do get a bounty hunter who shows up, right?
Yes, it's always like when you hear the boots, your first thing is, oh, it's Boba Fett. And you're like, no, it can't be Boba Fett. It's got to be Cad Bane.
Boba Fett's the spurs. You have to hear the spurs.
I thought I heard some spurs. When
you
Cad Bane
did.
Walked.
That's what I'm saying. Like when Cad Bane walked, there was a distinct
spur.
As he's walking. And if you remember back, even with, you know, obviously Mandalorian Boba Fett, when Boba found Fennec, we know that the spurs were played then too.
Right, we heard the spurs. Yeah, for sure. When you hear spurs, it's Boba Fett. I didn't hear spurs this time. I thought I heard boots, but not spurs. But
no, it was definitely.
I'm pretty sure I heard spurs. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely there because it went as he went past, and then as he came back, you could hear it twice. It was like, I was like, "Oh, we're gonna get Boba Fett," and I'm like, "No, this wouldn't be the right time for Boba Fett."
Mike, your dogs are barking, so that's why I didn't hear it.
Yeah, that's what it was. Damn dogs. Actually, my dog's name is Boba Fett. So it was Boba Fett.
It was either that or he was playing with the popcorn bucket.
No.
Yes, this is with it all the time. It's ridiculous.
Anyway, moving along. So, you know, this little Force sensitive baby gets taken by the bounty hunter, and he has Toto test him, right, for the M count.
Yeah.
And he does a little pinprick, and he's like, "Yep, he's positive. Let's take him." And it's pretty sad because but it's pretty much the same thing that the Sith were doing, collecting all the babies. Remember that episode of
yeah, but this was really harsh for me. This episode, man, I'm not gonna lie. This was a brutal episode to watch.
This was intense to where Sophia was like, I don't want anything to do with this. Yeah. She was like, the music and the tone, like, and I was like, the music is this season is just it's intense. Even at the end, the music's like really intense.
Yeah, when he took the little muskrat baby or whatever, and that was that was rough, man, because it wasn't even like
reminded the master in Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah. whatever species that is.
Yeah, I can't even.
But I got a lot of Baby Yoda vibes. It's really young baby that really probably can't talk and just kind of stumbling around. And then they even put him in like a pram.
Yeah, looked like a pram.
So this is a lot of Baby Yoda vibes.
Me too. I got the same boat
Baby Yoda when he had hair. Who knows? That's what Yoda species looks like in the winter.
And so anyway, we get back to Cantus, and then Emery's there, and she wants to become the new chief scientist, right? Because Nala stays out of the picture, and so Hemlock promotes her.
Yeah. I thought that was a little odd because he takes her in. It's like the first time she sees everything. Well, okay, you give her access to that, but make her the chief scientist when there's already a bunch of scientists in there. I thought that was a little odd. Like,
that was weird.
Taking care of the kids. I was like, that was just odd to me.
Yeah, I think that she's already seen the writing on the wall, and that's why she asked, because I think some of the things that Nala Se did, she's more curious, like, okay, why did she change? Why did she do what she was doing? Because remember, like, she's obviously a clone, I would say, more in lines with like Tech, right? Like that kind of modified clone, if that's how you want to use it. So I think her curiosity is like, why did she decide to do this? But if she makes a stand and says, I want to be the chief medical officer, then she has the opportunity to learn more why Nala Se did what she did. And it didn't take long to realize what they were doing was wrong.
Yeah.
And so now, curious, but I think it was a direct tie-in, because for me anyway, to the next episode, because of what happens in the next episode.
Hello.
Love you.
But you know what's interesting? She did say, when she talks to Nala Se, though, jumping to that part, remember after, well, we're skipping the whole part. She goes into the vault. She sees the specimens, right, which are all these children with high M counts. And then, he tells her, Hemlock tells her that Omega's blood is key because that's the only binder compatible with the children's DNA to be able to recreate it. So now we know that.
I just want to gloat for a minute. I told you
away.
So. I told you so. I was like, although I still don't think you could totally remove the fact that she could have the Force, but I kind of felt like she never had the midi-chlorians. And he says it. They finally said you can't clone midi-chlorians.
Right. So you know what? I had John's voice in my head the whole time since I saw it. Like, man, I'm gonna gloat.
I told you so.
It's true. It's true. All hail John. All hail John.
So I think it has something to do, like she's some kind of glue that you take midi-chlorians maybe out of little children,
and or any more sensitive.
Yeah, put their midi-chlorians with her protein in her blood, some kind of, and then you could add that to pretty much any being or clone,
and then you can clone it. You can clone the M count. Yes, I agree.
But
remember, one thing that was interesting too that was maybe glossed over is Emery tells Nala Se, are those children going to be discarded the way you discarded me? So I think maybe Emery was the first attempt at creating a binder, and she didn't work, so they got rid of her. And Omega was the last one, and she was the successful case. So I think maybe Emery was an initial attempt to create this binder, but it didn't work because she keeps telling her, I was discarded.
Well, maybe from a testing standpoint, but Omega's older than her. I think she still went through the accelerated growth thing. Because I thought at one point, like at the very beginning, like the first episode, she referred to her as little sister.
Well, I know she called the Bad Batch little brothers.
Right. I think when we talk about the Alpha and Omega, like she was obviously one of two. I get, Alpha and Omega but I think she was one of two, and Boba was probably Alpha.
He was the first,
and then she was the second
unaltered
as being
clone.
Omega.
Well, Omega means last, so she's the last unaltered clone.
But she's still older than. Well, see, that can't be either because she's older than the Bad Batch. They were all created in the same area, that secret area at Camino.
She's the last unaltered clone. So
Pretty sure she's altered.
I think she is. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, I think she is.
No, I mean unaltered in terms of the growth acceleration.
Oh, so well, yeah, that would.
All of them were altered for growth acceleration, so she's she's unaltered for growth acceleration.
Just but as far as we know, there's only two of them anyway.
Right.
It was Boba.
But that doesn't mean there aren't more. That's just all that we know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's something maybe we need to find out later. Who is oldest? Yeah. Was Emery the first Omega, or did she have anything to do in the creation process at all with Omega, or is totally something different? It'd be kind of interesting. It'd be really interesting if Emery was like the first Omega, and they did have maybe like accelerated accelerated aging on her, and the blood was close. Not good enough, but we got some promising results. Let's go to the next one. And they made Omega, maybe without accelerated aging, and then they got close to where they need to be.
Maybe it was that accelerated aging that was preventing the binding from happening.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see who was first in that.
Mm-hmm. So, and I think what happened was Emery was infected by Omega's kindness, because I think that if Emery had gotten that position of chief officer before interacting with Omega, she might have been okay with it, because she wasn't very kind to Omega when Omega and she first interacted, and it wasn't only until after time that she warmed up to her. And so I think that had an impact on her in terms of her kindness. And so when she sees these children, she's a softer Emery, and she feels bad for these kids, and the little girl comes up to her and asks her what her name is, but before she can answer, Hemlock tells her, hey, don't get too close to them, because they're just our assets. You can't interact with them. And then we see that other little force sensitive child he wants to get out of there. Yeah, he wants
Zach
to get out.
Or something.
Jax.
Yeah, he wants to get out.
What, Jax? What was the girl's name?
Eva.
Eva. Mm-hmm. And we don't know the one.
Third one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was the blue skin. She was the same species or creature or race as that one senator.
Mm-hmm. Is it Senator Chuchi?
The girl, the girl with the blue skin? Is that who you're talking about? That's Senator. Whatever I can't remember what they are. They live on that frozen planet too.
Right.
I just never remember the name of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Senator Chuchi. So anyway, Eva asks her what happened to Nala Se. Why is she, and if she's going to be able to help her. And Emery says, help you do what? And she says, to help me go home. And she's like, oh, I'll look into it. And then next we have Jax, right? And he's been observing, trying to get out, and then he grabs Emery's data pad and he runs for it, right? And he's going to try to get out, but they lock him in. And then security comes in and they shoot him, right? They stun him. And Emery's like, you don't have to do that. And he still stuns him. And he was like, that's the protocol. We have to. And, that Emery's really affected by that when she sees that.
Oh, yeah. The whole thing is affecting us. And we're not even there.
Oh, yeah. Big time. And then
imagine, being there.
I can't believe that they showed the guards shooting children. in a kid's show. So, especially when you think about how, when they re-released ET, they blurred out the guns in the officers' hands and put walkie-talkies because they just didn't want them holding guns around children. So for this show to be showing them actually shooting the kids,
yeah, I mean, I see it, but I mean, they are stunning them. I mean, we've known that even the Bad Batch stuns their own, the clones that are shooting at them because they don't want, you know what I mean? So
right. But in ET, they weren't even aiming the guns at the children; they were just holding them. So they didn't want them holding the guns and blurred them out and made them
completely different in the 80s though with that.
No, they had guns in the 80s.
Right.
Now,
that's what I'm saying.
When you watch it on TV now, their guns are missing.
I won't ever watch that. I'd rather have the cinematic experience with no commercials for ET. It's one of my favorite movies.
Well, you can stream it, and there are no guns anymore. So, so then Emery's horrified, right, about that, and so she wants to find out more about the project. So she goes and talks to Nalase, and she asks. That's when she tells her, "Are these children going to be discarded the same way that I was, as a child?"
Which is throwing a lot of shade at
Nalase. Yes.
Well, and she's clearly whatever she's not just being locked up. I think they're torturing her as well because you can see that her motor skills and everything have diminished a lot with how she was talking.
She always talks slow though.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem the same.
Spit it out. She's like really slow to tell Omega what she needed to do, and it was too slow.
Yeah, it just I don't know. It just seems like the body language and everything is just it's off.
Yeah, she did seem broken.
Yeah,
she did seem broken. And then Nalase tells her, no, the Empire's going to keep them because that's how they can control them. And then they both agree that the children do not belong there. So Emery is on Nalase's side in terms of this now. And she says that she did what she had to do to protect Omega. That what will Emery do to protect these children? She puts the burden on her now.
Right.
And I think Emery is taking it on seriously. And I think she's going to come through for those kids, or she's going to try at least.
Well, I think she also knows how to get out of there because she also knew how Crosshair and Omega got out.
Mm-hmm.
She has to. And the only reason I say that is just because we've seen these children and we mini bonds with them. We got names for them. And if we never get a resolution with these children, it's going to be pretty harsh on children watching this show. Whatever happened to Eva? Oh, she's still in prison.
She's dead.
So I think there's going to be some kind of escape, and maybe when Bad Batch comes, and those 4 kids get off. I just can't imagine they stay there.
Just like we saw the kids in I think in the beginning of the next episode, right? The ones that they
the clones.
The clones that they rescued from the previous facility. You're right.
Them,
Daniel Logan was back.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, and then Hemlock gets a call from Governor Tarkin, right? And Tarkin,
such a weird phone call. What's going on? None of your business. I know. Well, tell me. I'm like, what is happening?
But Tarkin, notice he's Governor Tarkin still at this point. He still hasn't gotten to that Grand Moff status like what he wants.
Governor Tarkin.
So he's still in that position of I need to know, we know that because even with Rampart and the whole scripted stormtroopers and stuff, he was constantly trying to control everything to show that he had value
because he wants to climb higher.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
he started that in the Clone Wars. He didn't. He didn't like the clones then.
No, he's been poking around trying to get higher since his very beginning. So that's part of his personality. That makes sense. And so he's trying to figure out what's going on over here with Hemlock because they're all competing, for the top spots.
Yeah, I don't know if Hemlock's competing from there. I just think he wants to make sure he's in Palpatine's favor. I don't think he's necessarily climbing for power. I just think he wants to be the person that solves Palpatine's
He just wants Palpatine to say, "I'm proud of you. You did a good job."
Yeah, I mean, no, I think that's all he wants.
It is.
No, he reminds me of in Rogue One. Also, Krennic. He wanted to be recognized and move higher in terms of the science, like to be the lead scientist. And I think Hemlock wants to be the lead scientist. So I think everyone's pretty much ambitious in the Empire. And
ambitious, yeah, but I think this has a little bit more to do with he wants to make the Emperor happy, appease the Emperor, as opposed to just my rankings like Krennic.
Yeah, and this is so close to Order 66 that yeah, is Krennic even in the picture yet?
I mean, he's technically like no, but he could be. I mean, I'm sure he's
alive
somewhere.
No, that's what I mean. But
whatever their West Point is, he's the academy. He's probably going to that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but I guess what I'm saying, like, I know he's there, and he's probably, like a captain or a lieutenant or something at this point. Would be my guess, but I don't think the Death Star and Galen and all that is like what he's working on at this specific
maybe
moment.
He is actually. If you think about it,
Death Star started during this time.
Mm-hmm.
After
they had some plans.
They already had the plans already, and it's already been in progress.
So maybe he has Galen somewhere, and they're fine tuning it. And
maybe I just don't know.
And I think at this time,
prominent at this point,
Galen's still like actively working with them instead of he hasn't abandoned the Empire yet. Correct. At this time. So then he contacts the Clone X sniper clone that's been trying to find Omega, and the clone tells him that he tracked down the Trandoshan, which we know is Sid.
Yes.
And got information about a pirate that's been in contact with Omega, and we know that pirate is Fee.
Yep. So that's all off camera, correct? All that because
all of that's happened. Yes, okay. Mm-hmm. But we know these characters, so I think just they're mentioning them. But we know the Trandoshan and pirate that we're familiar with are Sid and Fee, and they're connected to Omega. So then Scorch and Emery go meet with Cad Bane, and then she also tested the little child's blood, and he does have high M count.
Yep.
And she starts saying, "What planet is he from?" And he's like, "Careful, don't ask those questions because that tells more about you than anything else." So, because Bane's like super suspicious of everyone.
He hates Boba Fett.
He's super clever. Yeah,
doesn't trust anybody. Rather shoot you and not ask questions and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very cold-hearted.
Yeah, he's Han in the cantina, that first opening scene when he kills Greedo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry for the mess.
Here's a few coins. Clean up that mess. Then they return to Tantus, and Emery finds out that Jax is being punished. Right. So he's in isolation for 2 rotations.
Which originally it was supposed. She told
Eva
that she could see him tomorrow, and then we see that she's like, "You are like empty promises, just like everybody else."
She's like, "You liar!" She goes, "You lied." And so then Emery feels bad, and she finds Omega's handmade Tuca doll, and then she leaves it
that was
for
interesting.
Eva.
Yeah,
that was cute.
So that's where we start to see her start to kind of
her compassion.
Yeah, not be so drone, but actually have human abilities, sympathy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so that's that episode.
It was a good episode, but it was hard to watch, man. Mm-hmm. That will be one I don't know if I can rewatch. And really, the only good thing out of it was I was proved right.
And for that reason alone, this episode should not even exist.
Oh, wow.
But I think you still don't want to count out. I remember you were like, she has the Force. And I still think it's a possibility just because the Force it can do whatever the heck it wants. So
well, everyone has the Force.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I don't think you bring in a Saz Ventress. And just bring her back just because if there wasn't more to it.
But that's the thing, they've never actually told us. Remember, we talked about it last episode. If she has an actual M count or not, or a high M count, whatever. So we still haven't got that. So they haven't even mentioned low count, high count, no count, nothing. So that's why I'm like, maybe she has a no count because you can't put M counts in clones, which it sounds like the truth. But she's different, obviously. So normal clones, you can't have an M count, but maybe she has something. I don't know, but I do know. Really, they need her blood as a binder to keep.
They do need her blood.
Other M counts. So, but I still don't want to rule out she could have something special. I mean, this is Star Wars, man. You do whatever it can do whatever it wants.
So moving on to episode 11, Point of No Return. This one aired immediately after, and it's Clone Force 99, right?
Clone Force? It was Point of No Return.
Yeah, Point of No Return. But we got Clone Force 99 is reunited with Fee.
Oh, okay. You're just in the middle.
That's what I meant. Yeah, the clone. Yeah.
You stopped.
Yeah, but not under the best of circumstances, right? So,
I mean that Shadow Trooper was able to crack the code and everything pretty easily. He just he found her, knew it was her, got on her ship. He was able to figure out what planet and where on the planet, which I thought was crazy too. I mean, planets are get large. He was able to figure out right where they were at, and then let the cavalry know where he was going to be. But I have a new theory about the clone. When we wrap it up, I can talk about the new theory.
Oh no, you can't just dangle the carrot at that point.
No.
Is there? So
you can't just dangle it. Let it out. John, I want to know.
I'm just dangling it right now. So I think people are all over the place. We're still thinking Tech. I was thinking Cody, but there's a point where he's talking and you hear the voice translator, and underneath the voice translator, it sounds just like Crosshair. I'm like, could this be a clone of Crosshair or something? Because then he takes that shot on a moving ship and nails the pilot. I was like, holy crap. That was a shot right there.
Oh, yeah. It can't be Crosshair, but
so I'm like, maybe he's a clone of Crosshair or something.
But would they have been able to speed up his growth that fast?
I mean, they can do whatever they want. They put double the grow up juice. I don't know.
Or was the guy or was the guy that Omega let out the clone?
Yeah,
it
could be something crazy like that.
But if you remember the handshake, right? His right handshakes just like the one Shadow Trooper before he was shot.
He had the little handshake
same way. So yeah, I kind of thought it was Cody's. Sarah still says it's Tech. Like she will not give up on that. Because she thinks the glasses, just to skip ahead a little bit, the glasses going on the shelf means something.
I know. Sprinkle that in.
They keep bringing him up so we don't forget him. That does make sense.
So, but I could see the actual guy in the shadow thing actually being Crosshair.
That's crazy too.
Or maybe Crosshair, or it's maybe really Crosshair that's with the Bad Batch back. But I mean, I don't know why you would clone, I guess, that spot, on the right side of his head. If you clone him, you could clone him without it. Yeah. So it could be that they enhanced a clone to be just like Crosshair, but actually more deadly.
Yeah. I think the safe bet for them is to just do Tech. But I was like, because then they get to bring Tech back. I think if they really want to go for the fences, you make it a Crosshair variant, or make him Crosshair, make the regular Crosshair the variant or something. I just thought.
Well, he didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I heard the voice when he was talking, and they'll layer the voices. I'm like, God, that sounded that raspy voice right underneath
like
there.
Crosshair, yeah.
Like, man, that sound. And then he took that shot, and even in the other episode we see him, he's doing a lot of snipering. So they're having a sniper war. I'm like, man, this is this is a trip right now. If they really want to swing for the fences, they could take his helmet off, and it'd be was it the movie Logan where they had 2 Wolverines, but one was younger and not as beat up, and you have the beat up Crosshair with the scar and the cleanups. It could be something like that, which should be a real trip.
That would, because then will Crosshair be able to kill himself?
Yeah, so
he might be stunned just enough seconds or half a second for the fake Crosshair to shoot him.
I'm Crosshair. No, you shoot him. And then that scene, Hunter's like, and then he goes,
wait, and then a third one pops out. There's 3 of them.
Well, right, but there was a reason too when we go back to that episode where they capture that one Shadow Trooper. He goes, well, you have to ask him, and he's like, we don't have time for this. We got to go. He knows who that person is. There's no way he doesn't.
Yes, there's something.
Yeah.
There's something.
Cody went AWOL, like that, that could make sense. Or, hey, Tech fell, but for some reason, after falling off a mountain 10,000 feet, he's still living.
Yeah, I think there's a chance it's still Cody. I think Tech's, I don't know. I think they're all pretty even chance to me. I don't want to put one ahead of the other one right now.
Because there is a chance also it is Tech, because they keep reminding us of him.
And I think that's kind of safe for Disney. Like, we bring back someone you liked. He's back. He's still alive. So I think it's a little softball, and I can see them doing it. And I just, I hope it's not, but I think that they could go that way easily. It's like, all right, he's back alive. We're good. But
yeah. Well, because in the High Republic, everybody comes back. They're all presumed dead, but then they come back.
Except Loden.
Some are dead, but a lot of them are coming back. So then, so getting back to this episode, so while she's refueling her ship, Fee's there. Then the Clonex sneaks aboard, and he grabs the information from her Navic computer, right, where she's been, and she's obviously been to Pabu, so he's able to get everything. So Clonex reports that he knows what planet she's been to. It's Pabu, and he's going to set off to go get him. And then they're also sending, we're going to send reinforcements just in case. And so he heads out there to.
And I love that it's Scorch too, by the way.
Yeah, to make sure and say Scorch. Yeah.
Why do you love that it's Scorch?
He's one of the 4 Republic commandos.
Nice.
You had Bob, you had Fixer, you had Sev, and you had Scorch.
Was he the only one that lived? Do you remember?
I don't. I just think it's cool that it's one of those 4 highly trained ones that are still there.
Well, I definitely noticed the commandos are the only ones that continuously keep in service. I mean, everywhere else they've been putting in clone stormtroopers. But when it comes to like the leader of the pack, whatever they're going to call the lieutenants of the group or whatever, there were still commandos, clone commandos. So it's pretty cool.
Because they're so top notch. Yeah. So then he heads out to Pabu, and everything seems pretty peaceful there, right? We're back on Pabu, and Wrecker and Gonki are working to get the Marauder loaded, right? Because they're going to head out. They're packing all their stuff. Like, man, we got so much stuff. Reminds me of when I moved. And then Hunter's like in a hurry. He's like, let's get out. And then we see Mox and Stack and Deke, right? From the 3 clones that they rescued. And they're eating ice cream cones. I was like, you know what? Life's pretty good for them. So it was good that
I
they brought them
knew
here
something was wrong immediately when they started like checking out the city. We started panning, doing slow pans, going through the city. People just enjoying their day. It's like, well, this is their last good day. So I was like, I knew something was wrong.
Yes,
they telegraphed that with all the peace, the calm before the storm. So
yep. So then we go back to, it goes to Lyanna and Omega, and they're both inside the museum where Omega donates her Lula doll and also Tech's glasses. Which
is that her Lula doll? I thought that was Wrecker's doll.
But Wrecker gave it to her.
Yeah, it was Wrecker's, but he gave it to her.
You didn't give it to her to like hold. You said you could have it. I thought he gave it to her so she can hold it. She's just giving away his stuff. I'd be pretty upset.
He gave it to her, but it was a gift. But she wants to leave it in the museum as proof, like she'll be back one day, someday, to see it. And she also leaves Tech's glasses. And even Lyanna asked her, "Are you sure? Because they're so important to you." She's like, "Yeah, they need to be here," because she hopes to be back. And they're so meaningful for her. Well, she's hoping. She's hoping. Poor Omega.
Gonna juice her.
Yep. Meanwhile, Wrecker's loading up the ship, and then he senses something. Right, he's looking around because the Clonex is shooting these little bombs all over the ship, and they're like attaching all over to the ship, and he senses it, and then Hunter senses something too, and he grabs the droid, and they try to like get out of the way, but the ship explodes, and they're forced into the ocean. Right.
And there goes
I don't know.
another
A forced into the ocean, more like he flew into the ocean.
Yeah. I think
Well,
if he would have jumped,
by the
he would have been
blast.
unconscious. Yeah.
Yeah, he did
Yeah.
jump, but the blast kind of like pushed them.
And I just ordered the Marauder on Hasbro Plus too. Just like the Razor Crest. Like I just ordered it.
Did you?
No, they didn't. They haven't really. I just thought it was funny. They haven't made the ship. I'm like,
Now they
it's a
won't
cot-
because it's gone.
another like marquee ship, which to me is
Yeah.
a little. Yeah, to me is a little like, man, that's their ship, that's their home, and it's gone. So
Yeah.
there's no
That was their
status.
home. You're right.
There is no status quo now. There's not going to be like, well, let's just go to about how we're going to end peacefully or something like that. Something's dramatic things are going to have to change.
Yeah.
So I think that's the first kind of sign. So we have.
It is pretty sad though to destroy that ship because it's been with us all 3 seasons.
Yeah.
No.
So that's it was a bold choice.
Yeah. So then Clone X spots Omega and he contacts Scorch and says, "You know what? She's right here." And he knows that Omega's not to be harmed. They need to take her alive. And but Clone Force, the Bad Batch, they can be eliminated. They're not important. And so to keep them from escaping, he blows up the Marauder. Wrecker's severely injured, and Hunter sends him with the young clones to AZI-3 and to get medical treatment. The troopers land on Pabu. Meanwhile, we see them flying in. That's pretty dramatic, right? At the top, they remind me of like on
Camino.
Oh yes, now that you mentioned it, yes. But I was thinking more like on what's that Jeddah when they had the big Star Destroyer.
Oh
over
yeah,
Jeddah?
or even in Ahsoka with Thrawn's ship hovering.
Right,
over.
right. It's just such a great image. So this fits right into that. So
I did find it was kind of interesting that it's mainly stormtroopers, but they're still using all old Republic tech. It is the gunships. It's not even like an amalgamation of the gunships. It is the
Right.
gunships. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Not
it's
changing it up.
It's a good continuity and transition. It's a good continuity from the old and transitioning to the new.
So you have the new with the old equipment instead of all
Mhm.
moving at once. So it's interesting.
Mhm. I like that.
And I knew the moment they were kind of swarming and they took out all the equipment, I was like, Omega's gonna do something stupid. Like she's gonna do something stupid. The Empire does not care about these people. They'll burn 1 million planets. All
they
they
don't
want
care.
is you. That's the most
Mhm.
important thing. And then you go ahead and just do some stupid.
Well, I think we all when we saw the listing of the episodes, we all knew, and I think we all said it, that we all thought she was going to get captured, right? Like they were going to capture her. We didn't think that she was going to be like, no, I need to save these people by doing that.
Right.
Which, by the way, selfless acts is something the Jedi do quite a bit. Just throwing it out there.
Thank you, Bryce. I needed you here last week.
Silly little kids who don't think of the big picture do.
It's
big
the
picture.
hero's
Come
journey.
on.
Hero's journey. So, and Hunter manages to get on a ship because he wants to go try to rescue Wrecker, right? But then Clone X spots him, and that's like you said, John. He has dead aim, and he shoots. And
I just can't believe that shot. I thought he was going to try and shoot the ship down. He hit the stormtrooper. I was like, holy moly, that's better than Crosshair right now.
That was the pilot. That was
I just could not believe that shot. That was like, and that was I
one in a million.
I already heard Crosshair's voice earlier, and I was like, God, it sounds like Crosshair. And then did that again. I was like, man, it's gonna be a swerve.
It might be. I mean, it might be.
Yeah, if he's gonna be some Crosshair or Crosshair clone, is going to be a swerve, and I think it'll be an awesome one.
Crosshair clone. Yep. You heard it here first. It's a Crosshair clone.
I think it'd be cool. I honestly do.
That would be cool.
For over Tech. Tech gave a sacrifice. He's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make him some tormented.
Yeah, I think we gotta just honor that. Like,
right.
It's not gonna be all like, you know, puppy dogs and ice cream.
Yeah.
You know, people are gonna perish.
Yes. And so then, even though the ship is crashing, Hunter manages to escape in time, and he swims for the shore. So at this point, Omega does realize, you know what, this is never going to end. So she decides to turn herself in, and she tells Crosshair, and he's like, no, you can't. And she's like, this is my decision, right? I need to do this. They're never going to stop.
She would rather sacrifice the entire galaxy than have these, I don't know, 200 peoples be terrorized.
She doesn't know that, though. She doesn't know that.
She knows how much the Empire wants her.
Right, but she doesn't know that she's the key to destroying the whole galaxy.
Really, if she wants to make the ultimate, really, if she wants to do the ultimate heroes thing,
she'd kill herself.
Yeah. go
John,
go swimming with some weights, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
The way the season's going, I think it has to end on a bad note. Like, at what point do you just let like the Empire win?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you have to they rise to power at some point. You just have to.
The Empire does. We know the Empire does win because there are successful clones with M counts. We have Snoke.
Yeah, but I don't think it's. I think they're poor versions. So I don't think they get exactly what they need out of Omega.
No, but they weren't able to do it at all without.
Well, yeah, but this is also 25 years later. We see Snoke, so they have some time to figure something out. I think
looks like Crosshair. It's so weird.
Oh, that's the other thing about Clone X. We'll get to that in a minute. But I think it's similar to Solo. Kind of good vibes, but also at the same time, like that she gets away, she's the new thing. So it's like it's gonna have some really we didn't change much of the story, but maybe Crosshair, Omega, and Wrecker live happy ever after, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how good it's gonna be. I think there's gonna be some overall, the Empire might get the upper hand in it.
Yeah,
but I think it's happy enough, so it's not like, oh man, this is awful. I think we might see a happy ending for maybe some.
I'm literally anticipating the only people walking away are
Omega,
Rex, Wolf.
Oh, we know they do,
and Gregor. That's it.
No, we know they do.
What? I think Omega.
That's what I want. I'm going worst case scenario.
Omega and Wrecker have to get away. Or else, dude, this would be
I want Wrecker. I don't know if Wrecker could.
You remember the backlash from Game of Thrones? That's what's going to be like if they end up actually choosing Omega.
I don't want to get into Game of Thrones. That's the product of a writer who's not writing fast enough at a show that wants to go at their own speed.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, we're going to just write this for you, Martin, because you're not finishing the book. So we're going to write this, and this is how it's going to be. And
give us some cliff notes, and we'll make it up.
And we're going to give you $10 extra million to not argue. I mean, that's just. We don't want to.
I'm just saying
that was
the way
poorly handled.
How upset people were with that is going to be if Omega and Wrecker don't get out, people are going to be extremely upset.
But does Wrecker?
Because Wrecker's very childlike.
He is. So can he survive on his own?
I think he can physically, but Rex. I'm just saying that Wrecker's character and Omega's character are both like children characters, and you can't kill children. You just can't.
And the other kids get off too. I'm saying those.
Oh yeah, the other kids
4,
are
5, 6
for sure.
Have to survive.
Even the clone kids. Even the clone kids.
I can see maybe Mock sacrificing himself or something.
No,
it's not something. Yeah. Yeah, like sacrificing himself, not like being like slaughtered.
Oh, okay, not being slaughtered. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
So then, the way that Omega gets Crosshair to come on board with her plan is he says, you know what? They're going to take me back, because he says they're going to take you back to Tantus. And she's like, well, that's what we want. We want the coordinates. You put a tracker on it, and and it's going to work, and you'll be able to come get me. She's like, okay, I'm here for it, right? He's going to shoot a tracker onto the ship. So then she turns herself in. They collect her. They put her on the ship. Crosshair's ready to shoot the tracker onto the ship when he doesn't make it. He's not able to do it. He gets attacked, distracted.
It went a little limp. It's like,
it went sideways.
Yeah.
So then when he finally does shoot it, doesn't make it.
So when we were watching that, though, something that was kind of unique too is the fact that she took the helmet off. And she kind of like looked into her helmet. And so Sarah's like, well, what if she actually had another device in her helmet? So in case Crosshair didn't make it. But remember, they only scanned her from here down. They didn't scan her head.
Well, that was the other thing. They scanned her. They said, "Oh, she has one." They took it,
and they handed it over.
They never rescanned her.
Right.
It's like,
right.
Someone does a metal detector test. Oh, let's take this middle off them. Usually they rescan you. They say, okay, she's done. So I was like, I did catch that. And it did seem a little weird when she sat down on the ship. She took her helmet off, focused in on him. I almost thought she was going to meditate or something. Something was a little
like
weird.
A Jedi would.
Yeah. But maybe she does have something hidden on her somewhere.
Yeah. Well, but remember Gunji trained her how to meditate.
Yeah.
So when they were on Kashyyyk, and so I think she's using all those meditation techniques, and I think she's centering herself and preparing herself for going back to Mount Tantus.
Yeah, but I mean, imagine going back to prison
willingly.
Oh God,
and a prison that you don't deserve. She didn't deserve to be imprisoned.
That you're going to be not experimented on. And it's. I just can't imagine.
She doesn't know what they're going to do, but she knows that they need her blood. So taking your blood's not going to be something that's pleasant.
Pretty much.
I don't like doing it.
And they need her alive. So really, if I could see them putting her like in some kind of coma with a drip, and so she continuously gives blood.
Remember that little thing that was all over the creature, sucking the blood out in what was it, The Mandalorian or one of those shows? They're all blending into my head now. It was a little creature, but it was like a big robot, and it was and it was the Mandalorian went to go.
You talking about that mechanical like little creature from in the Mines of Mandalore?
Yeah, in the Mines of Mandalore, yes. Remember, he plugged in all those
pipes, the spider robot.
Yeah. They plugged all the tubes. He was going to drain them to get the blood out to eat them. That's what we're going to do to Omega. Put all those drains on her body and.
Well, I think
that's just no. No, Mike.
And then that's how it ends.
You just got done talking about like guns and kids, and here you are. They're just going to drain her.
They won't kill her. They'll just
plug her in and
keep her alive.
Then you see the credits roll, and then that's season finale.
All right. So, any final thoughts on these 2 episodes, guys?
The first one was brutal. I don't know if I'll ever be able to watch the first one again. Watching the kid get stolen from his mom, just like, oh my! Imagine being the mom waking up, my baby's gone. Like it's just, I that's brutal, man. I just can't with that. That's really rough. And then her pretty much in the prison, she can't really help the kids at all because all the guards, seeing all these kids being locked up against their will just because they're special. It's just, I don't know if I even watched the first one again, honestly. Yeah. Second one was good, but it was also rough because they kind of got their butt handed to them. But it was good. It's probably be my out of the series like the hardest to watch section. But we're in the final stretch one, so it has to get worse before it gets better. I mean, that's how stories are told. So now that the next episode is when you see the resolve. You're gonna see Hunter, Crosshair, Rex. They're resolved. Now what do we have to do? And so you can see how they really care for us. So it's what we need. I really enjoyed it though, but still, it was hard to watch.
Oh, it was intense.
Bryce,
the music, what was really being portrayed in the story was like, oh my gosh, like shocked. Sophia sat through it, but man, she didn't like it. She's like, I'll finish it, but she's like, I don't like this.
Yeah, I can imagine a kid watching that. Like, it's hard for me.
Yeah, it was. I at one point asked her, "Do you want me to shut this off?" And she goes, "No." She goes, "Can I watch Young Jedi Adventures when we're done?" I said, "Absolutely."
Oh, I love that series.
Gotta get through it. She sits there and spins. Yeah. She does circles around me with that. I'm like, man, this kid's awesome. But they were necessary episodes. I want to not like the first episode, but I understand its importance to the bigger story. That we understand like how, I guess, evil Palpatine really is, and what and Hemlock. I just don't like him. I am not a fan of him. At some point, I hope he perishes. That's my sorry. But man, he's evil.
Yeah,
it's probably why Palpatine.
Assets. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, that's why Palpatine gave him unlimited things. Like Hemlock's like, dude, I'll do whatever it is you want me to do.
He's Team Palpatine for sure. He's on board. Yeah. Well, these episodes, episode 10 was highly rated, one of the highest rated episodes, but 10 is the top rated episode of the series.
Well, with me, it's a lot like Revenge of the Sith, and the Order 66 is hard to watch, but I mean, it's so impactful. It makes it the best of the prequels. But that's a hard couple minutes for me to watch too. I don't like watching that, so that's how this reminded me of. It's like, oh god, it's necessary, but you got to do it. Yeah.
But yeah, so I agree. These two episodes were really good. These are the best combined episodes of the whole season. So
far,
right to date. But yeah,
they did have one amazing moment. I forgot to mention that again. I was proved right.
Back to that. So thank you for joining us, everybody, and remember to watch us on Threads at Virtual.Cantina Network, on Hive at Virtual Cantina, on TikTok at Virtual Cantina. And make sure to follow our main page of Star Wars Celebration Japan 2025 on Facebook, the largest fan-based Star Wars page for Star Wars Celebration. And be sure to follow us on YouTube at Virtual Cantina Network and on Instagram as well.
Which tickets go on soon for the celebration in Japan, right?
May 4th?
May 2nd.
Oh, is it May 2nd? Yes. Yeah. And at
Thursday, 7 Network EST.
On X, formerly Twitter, at Cantina Virtual, and on Threads. I already said that.
You already said Threads.
Yes. Big shout out to Star Wars book nerds and Star Wars Comic Book Club.
And one more time, say it, Mike. John was right.
Force be with you.
John was right.
John was right.